I want to move in a slightly different direction and keep moving this thing around, but Gary Bettman was in town the other day and was speaking very high and mighty about the NHL, that it doesn't have problems like the NFL has, and obviously the NFL thing keeps growing and growing. Is he correct? Is he fair to say that? In lieu of a few years ago, we were talking about the thing with the 3 players who died very suddenly. Does he have a leg really to stand on right now to say that his league is so superior to the other leagues in terms of not having issues? Because you hear a lot of former players, you guys have discussed before, about a lot of players who are really going through some tough times physically, mentally, emotionally. So while the issue may not be about the incidents of their current players, a lot of their former players are going through issues that I think maybe Gary Bettman would be wise to say, maybe we don't have those issues, but we have these issues, and that's...
I think he handled, and this is one of the first times that Bettman's ever gone offside. He should simply have said, listen, we have our own issues. I wish Mr. Goodell all the best. I know he's a capable executive. He'll get that situation resolved. It was not the time to crow about what a great group of athletes you have, because anybody that knows anything about professional sports knows that the best athletes in professional sport, without exception, are hockey players.
Absolutely right.
And so you don't have to crow on that one. You just let people form their own conclusions. And they don't have the type of clientele that football has. And it was too bad that Gary said that. I don't think he meant to misspeak, because he did. He shouldn't have said how great they are. That's because your point's well made, Perry. Everybody have their peccadillos. They try to hide them, but they've had some problems in the NHL, and they will have in the future. It's the nature of the beast. But it's not something that you brag about when another league is having trouble.
The other day, I was in my car, and forget what, I might have been listening to XM, I'm not sure, a local radio station. I think it was local. And they came up with some stats. And these are not the exact numbers, but it'll give you an idea what we're talking about. They said there were over 2,900 NBA players that have been arrested since 2010. There's been close to 2,800 NFL players that have been arrested from 2010. 390 to 400 baseball players, and 150 to 200 hockey players. That tells you right there.
Yeah. And you know who exceeds all of those numbers? The Congress and the House of Representatives.
That's right. All of them. They've been more arrested more by the drunk driving and all the rest of that than all these athletes.
This would be
don't hear about it.
This would be a great time to throw in Barack Obama's name, just to Phil, to let you go on a rant. But I feel
going around. No, I don't even pay attention to him anymore. When he gets on, I change channels.
I was just throwing that as a lighthearted moment. But one thing I want to say is, if I'm in the media, I asked that question to Gary Bettman for a reason, because Gary Bettman's in town to talk all about the season coming up, the amount of money that Rogers spent, and it's a great time to really puff out your chest. But if I'm the media, I don't really care about that. I want to try and get him talking about something else that's very current. So I say, what do you think about the situation that's going on in the NFL? How does that apply to your league? So I don't know Gary Bettman when he comes in there. I know he's got talking points, and I know he really wants to talk about the season coming up. But it comes down to the sound bites and what was the juicy little nugget that maybe could be really topical. And I think that was the part that came out of that, whatever he talked about. Nobody wanted to talk about, the $5.2 billion or the season coming up, who's going to win the cup. Gary Bettman said something outside of his own league that Bill, you said he may have been wise not to say, but he did.
Yeah. I think he regrets saying that. Phil knows him better than I. He didn't mean it to be a crowing for the NHL, because you don't crow about your superiority in any part of professional sports when that league is under duress, and you wait and let people form their own conclusions. It just was so atypical of Gary Bettman. I don't feel badly for him, because he said it, and he shouldn't have, and I think he realized he shouldn't have.
I can tell you guys this. I play in a lot of golf tournaments, lots. And every group that I'm put with say the same thing to me. Boy, why are you hockey players so cordial and so nice with the golf tournament and all that? I said, well, as far as my era is concerned, and even guys a little bit after me, we didn't make enough money to be cocky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And Phil, I think it goes back to the heritage.
Yeah, it does.
Upbringing of the key players. You know, you look at the best players in hockey, and generally speaking, they were brought up in Canada or the United States, and hockey was very much a big part of their life. And I don't need to compare them to any other sport. I just need to say that.
Yeah, good point.
That's what hockey is all about right now. It has not disintegrated. Its core is good Canadian boys. And in addition, of course, our neighbors to the south. And you have to look at how the league is made up, what the composition of it is, and it's not a coincidence that some of the leagues have difficulties.
Yep.
Phil, were you ever in a situation, either as a player or as a coach or general manager, where you were asked something by the media that didn't directly involve the game, but something maybe in a more global capacity? Just Phil, what do you think about the situation of a war? Where in other words, put you into a situation where you were asked to comment as Phil Esposito, just the guy, about a world situation and it wasn't about hockey, and did you feel comfortable talking about it?
Well, yeah, I think in the 72, I got asked a lot about the Russians and communism and all this other stuff, and I mean, I didn't pull any punches about it. Said I didn't like it. I think it sucks, and I don't like the way they treat people and all the rest of that stuff. And over the years, our reporters have not, I don't think, asked per se these kind of questions where, you know, where it would require an answer about politics or anything else, unless it was you're just sitting down shooting the breeze with somebody, you know? And a lot of times things come out there, but a lot of times these guys don't write that sort of stuff because, quite frankly, it's a lot of it is, with me, is what a lot of people are thinking. So, you know, it doesn't make a difference because everybody else is saying the same thing.